what am I thinking before I go into this conversation of where I want it to go?
Let's go first to what people do wrong when they're selling a particular product.
But you've got to ask the right questions beforehand to extract the value from something relevant. There are people going to college these days who are spending fortunes on something that they believe in a story that is going to get them ahead.
Right.
I haven't, in 5.5 years, Christian, I've never had someone say to me, I need to think about it.
¿Crees que si te comunicas más eficientemente con tus clientes, puedes hacer tu negocio crecer? O tal vez estás frustrado, un poco estancado en la empresa que estás actualmente porque no puedes llegar a los estándares que quieres. Y si te digo que hoy día tenemos una persona de mucha experiencia con el tema de relacionarse con las personas y que te pueden enseñar por lo menos algo, ¿dirías que tu vida va a ser de mejor calidad? Si has respondido sí a alguna de estas preguntas, este episodio es para ti. Y el día de hoy me enorgullece y tengo el verdadero placer de tener una persona que ha ayudado a miles de personas a poder comunicarse de una manera más consciente para lograr el objetivo y el resultado que desean. También le tengo una gran admiración, ya que tomó decisiones difíciles para poder emprender en el que ya hoy en día es un negocio muy próspero. Y lo tercero que estaríamos hablando el día de hoy es el tema de relaciones. Cómo relacionarnos con las personas que más queremos. Que por cierto, este episodio va a ser en inglés, que como ya sabes, este es un canal para ti, latino, de habla hispana, que quiere comenzar a crecer y seguir creciendo exponencialmente en el tema de las inversiones. Así que si no sabes inglés aún, esto que te sirva de motivación para poder seguir aprendiendo este hermoso lenguaje en este hermoso país. Vamos a intentar tal vez poner algunos subtítulos, pero vamos a hacer la transición en inglés. As I was saying, today I have the huge pleasure to introduce someone that I consider now my friend, that has taught many people many techniques to turn potential clients into paying clients. Hello, Jamie Miller. Welcome to Funes Funds podcast.
Hello. I'm happy I understood some of what you were saying.
I'm hoping that now you know a little bit of Spanish.
A little bit. The only Spanish I ever learned was on a soccer pitch, and that probably that shouldn't count.
I love the shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank
so
you.
Let's get right into it. I know you always preach to your students, and I've learned so much from you, that you have to go into an interaction with the outcome in mind so you can actually achieve the outcome that you have in your mind.
Correct.
How do you explain that?
How do I explain that? Obviously, what I have created and what I call it is conscious communication. A lot of the different industries out there get given a script, all right? I don't believe in a script. Me and the script people, we're not the same in our thought processes. I believe there's a framework to a conversation that increases the likelihood to get what you're wanting, where you learn to ask the very best questions. And that's why one of the principles that I teach is it crosses over not just to how to turn a potential client into a client, but also how to get a parent to get their kid to eat vegetables. I'll just throw out an example. Most parents, when they're Spanish or whoever, they want their kids to eat the vegetables. The kid will say, I don't like broccoli. And then a parent will say, how do you know you don't like it? And always, 10 out of 10 times, the kid's like, I just know. And then you're like, have you ever tried it? And then the kid's like, no. That is not going into that conversation with the predetermined outcome. So I teach, look, if I want my kid to eat vegetables and I have a predetermined outcome, my goal is to make it their idea, why they want it in their own mind. So I'd ask better questions. Kids, do you think I feed you healthy because I do or don't care about you? And your kid will respond, because you care. Okay. And then you would ask a question that can only go in one direction. Hey, what benefits do you think you would come up with for trying, the broccoli? And the kid might say, I don't know. And then as a parent, the parent can be like, I think I recollect you learning something in schools about eating greens. Do you remember any of those benefits? No. And then the parent could be, because they don't listen to the parents, but consciously, most parents should know, the kid will listen to technology. So if you go to Alexa, what are the benefits of eating broccoli? Now the kid's having to hear Alexa saying the benefits of eating broccoli are da-da-da-da-da, something about the brain, something about this. Then you get to ask the kids a question, did any one of those things stick out? In my case, my daughter was like, oh, the thing about the brain, Dad. And then I know to ask the question, why having a good brain? Why is that important? Now my daughter is telling me why she thinks having a good brain is important to her. So then I can say, what's your thoughts now? And my daughter will say, I think I should at least try it. So you've got two different types of conversations trying to achieve an outcome. One is never going to achieve the outcome. The second approach is going to lead to an agreement. Why? Because you're asking what's in it for the other person. So if I want you to do something, I'm not going to ask you questions that I don't want the answer to, that don't help me get ahead.
Okay.
You're in an industry, and many of the people, I don't obviously know your audience, and it could be far afield, but anyone in the mortgage industry, the rates are too high. All right? For lots of consumers, they might say, I think the rates are high. If you say, why do you think that? That's not a conscious question that you want the answer to. And if you ask it, you're now giving the person the ability. So hopefully that's given some clarity around maybe thought for your audience to be thinking, like, what am I thinking before I go into this conversation of where I want it to go? More awareness going into that conversation.
Okay, so in that example that you put with your kid, what's the outcome in your mind that you're trying to achieve in that particular interaction?
For them to try it. All right? And notice I started with a multiple choice question. All right? If a mortgage person's listening in and they say, I don't have kids, I'll be like, it's still the same principles. That's why I said it doesn't matter whether it's Spanish, wherever your background's from. I start with the question, do you think I feed you healthy because I do or don't care about you? My kid, knowing that they're going to say, because you care. If I'm a mortgage person, someone goes, I think the rates are high. I'm not going to say, why do you think that? I'm going to say, just out of curiosity, do you think you've got really bad taste or really good taste when it comes to a house? What do you think they're going to say? No, I've got terrible taste in houses. It's the same principles. You've got bad or good taste? Good taste. Okay. So if you like a house, is it likely other people will also like that house? And you're nodding your head, yes, they will be. Nodding their head, yeah. Okay, so when the rates come down, do you think you're going to give yourself more of a chance to get that house? Or do you think there's going to be less chances to get that house? Less chances. Okay, so what do you think you should be doing? I think we should be buying the property that we want, and when the rates come down, we refinance. I agree with you.
Okay. So you're basically steering them through the conscious questions that you're asking the particular person. And I do agree
that are factually true. You're not doing anyone any disservice. We both know, ethically, legally, morally, if they're waiting for rates to come down, they're giving themselves less of a chance of getting the house they want. Why? Because there'll be more competition for the houses out there. Is that?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
So,
and our audience, it is a lot of salespeople, right? It's entrepreneurs. People are trying to grow their business. So we are on the right track, right? And there's probably a lot of people listening in solar and sales engineer, medical sales. So let's go first to what people do wrong when they're selling a particular product or service. What would you say is what an aperture salesperson does in their first interaction?
Well, first off, they're not going in there with a predetermined outcome in their mind. Second off, they could get defensive and ask questions that we want the client doing all the talking, all right? If we're doing it, again, I'm not a coach where I've ever told you, Kristen, you have to do it this way. It's just me sharing with you if it makes sense. In an interaction, ideal interaction in sales, is it natural? We want the client doing all the talking. So one amateur play that a lot of people do out there is they go into a meeting at the start and they say these words. Let me start by telling you all about myself. All right. I asked you on the first meeting, Christian, what do you know about me? I don't. You mean to tell me you pay me all this money and you know nothing about me? And you're like, that's right. I'm like, there's a lesson in that. We amateurs make themselves relevant in their heads by telling their story and their background. I'm here to tell you, we should become irrelevant and it should be all about the client and what they want. And as long as we ask them what they value and what they want, and we know we can deliver on it, we're going to have a much better relationship going forward. And they won't be feeling like they were told to do something.
So to this point, and I've learned to be a little bit more conscious about it, so much more conscious since meeting you. But now I see it when a salesperson, for example, I know nothing against the solar people, but when they call you, hey, Mr. Funes, how are you? Which that's something that we can go into as well, though. How are you? But they're still talking about all these benefits about having solar. Oh, you're going to pay less in bill. Your house is going to appreciate more, X, Y, Z. But they don't even know what I truly value. And as we would agree, that value is very subjective. So if someone is throwing out the benefits, how do they know I actually appreciate it?
Well, I always say, like, not to give a negative shout out too much just to one company, but just an example, I say don't be LA Fitness sales guy. Like Jamie, hey, I'm thinking of checking out this gym, which everyone has competition. One solar company might have another solar company's competition, likelihood. Well, I'll turn around to the LA Fitness guy and be like, hey, I'm thinking of checking out Planet Fitness down the street, just to see what they would say. And they would always say, oh, they don't have the racquetball court, and they don't have the basketball court, and they don't have the swimming pool, and they don't have the aerobics room with the punching bags. Well, I say, now you're thinking, I've got me thinking I'm paying too much money for my membership in a sales environment. Why? Because I'm not using any of those things. What you're saying is a solar person is calling you up and telling you statement-based with this, and then trying to negate and knock the current company that's being used by you or whatever you're currently doing. The problem with that is twofold. One, I'm just throwing a bunch of statements at you and I'm going basically with the cross my fingers, hope and pray that one thing I share with you resonates. The second thing I'm doing, which you don't realize psychology you're doing, is basically I'm telling you, you've been an idiot for all these years. If I tell you everything you've done to this point, we're better, how is that a good thing? It's not. It's like if someone says to you, I'm using another mortgage person. If you start saying, I've heard bad things about them, or their company doesn't provide XYZ services, Christian, what if they've met that person, they like them? The psychology is, in the big picture, it's like you're basically telling them, you're not thinking straight for liking this person. It's not a positive. You can turn it into a positive. Right? If you said to me, Jamie, I'm thinking of also talking to another communication coach. I'm going to say that's fantastic, genuinely. Right? And why? Because I can make everyone build rapport around it. Have you ever bought something on Amazon, all right, and ever, before you bought it, read the reviews on what you're about to buy?
Absolutely.
Okay, watch this. Not to bring him too much into the mix, but maybe we can hear him or we can't, but just to have fun, because it's my nature. Hey, Joseph, you ever, when you buy a camera or buy anything, you ever go and read the reviews on it beforehand? Okay. For those who can't see him, he's nodding his head.
He said yes.
Right.
Yeah.
100% of people most likely are going to have done some research on something. So if you're like, hey, I'm going to talk to another communication coach, I mean it. I'm going to, well done. Seriously, fantastic, genuinely. You like me, which is my way of building rapport. You just want to do your research. Make sure you're going with the best option. You're going to say yes. And then I'm going to throw out what I call some group psychology. Do you know what? I don't know if this has ever happened for you, but it happens for me a lot. If you were me, and I'll put you in my shoes, and someone came to you and they said they're going to go and talk to someone else, and then they came back to you, would that make you feel like you provide a really stellar service? You're going to say yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to say, terrific. That seems to happen a lot. Now I've planted ahead. you can go and talk to him, but I've planted in your mind that I've had this happen and people come back to me. What you don't want to do is say, there's no need to go and talk to that person, because if you do that play, it's going to feel too much pressure. It's like a husband saying, I need to talk to my wife, and a salesperson thinking this is really going to work. Oh, it's easier to ask for forgiveness and permission. Yeah, I bet that works like a charm.
That probably happens a lot, right?
It does. In the amateur world, yeah, it doesn't. That in the real estate world, how many memes and different statements can we sleep on it? If you sleep on it, you won't sleep in it. Like, that's going to make, well, because you said that, we're going to buy this house. Not going to work. If when the mortgage rates went up, I saw all plastered through social media, date the rate, marry the mortgage, right? Do you think that anyone seeing that or hearing that is going to change their mind because they saw that plate? They won't. So if you pose questions like, hey, do you have good taste or bad taste? And they say, good taste. I can steer them into, okay. So if you've got good taste, you know me, when we were in Milan, I ask people, clients, before I bring them on, questions. The more proactive I didn't know we were going to get here, but the more proactive we are with our clients. You talked about potential clients into clients. Let's talk potential clients into the most amazing clients on the planet.
Let's go there. But you mentioned something very important that I want to touch base, because this is probably one of the biggest ingredients in our industry when you're in sales is rebuttals. You mentioned probably, and that's a very common one, right? Which probably it's most likely a lie. I need to talk to the wife, or I don't have the money, I don't have the time. What do you respond when people give you a rebuttal like that?
Well, look, I'm not a script person, so just whoever listens into this podcast. But
how do you steer that conversation to the outcome that you want, that is probably getting that sale at that moment?
Okay, so I'll give you an example with the wife, all right? I have a realtor who you might know, Deontay Lawrence, and he calls me up and he goes, Jamie, I need you to put your coaching hat on, because I've become friends with my client. He goes, I just had a chat with a husband and he says, I need to talk to my wife first. I couldn't remember for the life of me. Right, can you remind me what I said? I said, I bet you turned around to the guy and said, okay, talk to your wife. Like, when will I hear back from you? And he's saying, and that's a question that most people ask. When will I hear back from you?
Not a good question.
It's not for this reason. Let's go why it's not a good question. If I say, when am I going to hear back from you? In that particular case, I was right. And if people who listen in think about this, it's too broad-based, because here's what the husband said to him: 3 or 4 weeks. And I bet, Deontay, you're scratching your head right now thinking, like, what does she, like, drive a truck or something? Like, is she out of town? Like, what's going on? You're going to sleep next to her tonight. What takes 3 or 4 weeks, right? And I'm not going to say, like, oh, do this play, everyone, and you're going to sell every husband. That's not. It's about elevating chances and having the more quality conversation. There's no numbers game. It's how quality of a conversation can I have with someone when I'm actually engaging with them. So if I've got a husband, and I said this advice to Deontay, and hopefully your audience loves this, someone says, I need to talk to my wife. I'm like, terrific. Happy wife, happy life. And that's just personality coming out. There's no script with that. I'll be like, usually people in your boat, your shoes, they'll speak to their wives tonight, and I'll typically hear back from them by tomorrow. Hey, what kind of time frame are you thinking? And they will always say, yeah, tomorrow should be good. Why? Because I've let them know they're not a sucker. I've had this happen before. There's also incentive behind the word buy tomorrow, which you probably like, because I'm using the word buy, that you're going to buy something from me tomorrow. That's neuro-linguistic programming. We might not get into that too much today. But when I say I typically hear back from buy tomorrow, what kind of time frame? They say, yeah, no, tomorrow should be good. I then elevate that moment. I've had some clients say, see, I didn't ghost you. All right. I'll be like, look, in your lifetime, have you ever had anyone ghost you? And they're going to be like, yeah. I'm like, what do you think about that? They're like, no, that's no good. I'm like, okay, tell you what, life can happen. If I don't hear back from you by tomorrow, is it all right if I follow up with you the very next day? They say yes. Now I've diminished the chances of ghosting, and I've given myself permission in their mind to reach out to them the next day if I don't hear back in that time frame.
I see.
But what I'm not doing, I'm not saying, when will I hear back from you? So they can tell me 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because a lot of life can happen in 2 or 3 weeks.
I see. So you're basically using first a praise from what I hear, tell them terrific. Then you kind of use like group psychology. When my clients do this or when they have to talk to the wife, they probably or usually give me a response by the next day. And then you assume the sale with the question. Am I going the right track with what kind of structure do you use when you receive a rebuttal?
Well, there's 2 ways. So that's the wife one. But then we've got the ones you said money. All right. I either go with multiple choice questions.
Okay.
Or I go with story time. My favorite are stories. All right. So if someone says to me, Jamie, I didn't know, I've never shared this on a podcast before. So this is like, Jamie, 36 grand. Oof, you know, like that can like, now I've got them to say it's sensible. All right, beforehand. Why? Because I'm not just telling them what the fee is without extracting value. I'm asking them, what kind of value do you place on getting the things that you told me that you want? Low or high? Oh my God, really high. Can you see where 36 grand is sensible? They all say, yes, I can see where it's sensible. Oh, I'm feeling a bit of a way about investing 36 grand. All right, that's the money thing, right, Christian? Mm-hmm. So then I would say to them, I totally get it. Hey, is it okay if I share something with you, which you know is the golden rule, ask for permission. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, I mean, like, did you go to college? And most people in the world, in America specifically, yeah. I'm like, do you know what? All my clients, they tell me, like, one of the clients the other day was telling me that they went to Rollins, all right? And it's like this liberal arts school, and it's like 300 grand today to go to college. And as they were going through it and telling me, they came to this epiphany where they like realized, you know, the things that I was teaching wasn't taught to them in college. Were you taught the things that I teach? Right? Were you taught them in college? No. Okay. And then my client will go on and be like, the things that I actually teach them actually are more valuable to them in actually what they want to achieve in life. Right? Would you agree that? Okay. So when I put it that way, can you see where 36 grand is actually a really sensible investment? Jamie, you know what? When you put it that way, you're right. It's sensible. Lingo, who you may have met through me, never forget. Right? There's another story. We're at a Starbucks next door, Crunch Gym. All right, I've got the receipts, as the young generation, all right, like to put it. If someone wants to call me out, like on my phone, I can go through to the text message where I met him at Crunch Gym, where you and I have worked out. And I use the You Like Me play to build rapport with him. We're completely different from each other. We met at Starbucks. At the time, 3 grand. I was like, oh, 3 grand. He's like, oh man, 3 grand. I'm like, totally get it. I'm like, hey, lingo, just like, now when you know, gathering information can be me looking at what coffee you drink. Gathering information. Before we even sat down, I saw what car he pulls up in, and then Black Infinity, all pimp my ride, like all fixed up. I said, lingo, is that car yours? He goes, uh-huh. I said, hey, just out of curiosity, does that car go up or down in value for you? He goes, down. I'm like, okay, my training for you, does it go up or down in value for you? He goes, oh my God, man, way up. I'm like, okay. Wow. I said, are you spending more than $500 a month on your car? Yeah. If I can legitimately show you a way you can get my training, my help, my guidance for the rest of your life, and it's less than what you're paying on the car, would you do it? 100 million %. Like, you're being genuine now, Lingo. 100 million %. Okay, go to Credit Karma. Now he went to Credit Karma and he raised 18 grand. But he shared this story on another podcast where he's like, man, I met Jamie, didn't know him. Next thing I know, I'm comfortable giving him thousands of dollars. It's about finding the right clients where they think the right way around things, not bringing on the wrong clients.
But obviously, and this is the point that I want to make here as well, obviously the questions as we see in your example has a lot to do. Lousy questions will get you bad answers as well, right? So we receive a rebuttal. Just to finish this point, rebuttal, we think either multiple choice question or story. And from what I hear, you also leverage the gathering information from what they speak, but also from what you see. A coffee, probably Starbucks, that they spend, what, $6, $7? You see a nice car, so you leverage those things, and that's what you're trying to see, right? To get the outcome you want.
There's more to it. I don't think in the time frame we got that we're going to cover every situation, but like there are so many different. if someone says, I don't know if they're like 20 grand, like you're a mortgage person or a realtor, and someone's like, and you're ethical, and you're not showing a home to someone for $1 million, but like it's like, I don't know, 500 grand, and they said, I think we only cater for 350, all right? But they're holding a Starbucks cup. You're gathering your phone, hold on a minute. I'll be like, hey, look, do you love this house? Yes. If I can show you a way that it's financially feasible, all right, absolutely. Would you entertain at least hearing me out? Yeah, okay. I couldn't help yet notice you're holding a Starbucks cup. You ever go there more than once in a day? And you know, because coffee is an addictive thing. I've had 4 coffees today. And I love coffee.
My third one.
Right.
What was that?
Build rapport with coffee people.
There
Right.
you go.
But the point being is, they're not in certain lights, they're not inexpensive. Starbucks not renowned for being cheap coffee. So I know that they've spent, if they go there twice in a day, they're spending $300 a month on coffee. Okay. What is 50 grand in a mortgage payment every month? You know, and I'm doing my maths, and it's way less than $300. So I'm like, look, and then I use group psychology. My clients love this. Usually I buy them a generator, but in your case, I'll make an exception. I've got a connection that can get me the most world sophisticated beans, way better than what we're drinking here. And I'll buy you a coffee bean grinder and a French press, very sophisticated experience. And you can get to drink your coffee in the comforts and luxury of this home and save money. How does that sound to you? And the person in that moment is going to be like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. Here's what I know about humans. And hopefully your audience gets this. If they don't, there's a lot of self-talk that needs to happen. Price is irrelevant. People need to understand, every time they question like price, what price should I be? Last year, I think I proved more than every other year, Christian, based on what it was the year prior when I met you, for the same exact services, price is irrelevant. All right? But you've got to ask the right questions beforehand to extract the value from someone. Because that person who buys the home and you give them those coffee beans, here's what they're still going to do. They're still going to go Starbucks. Humans are more resourceful than what most people will give them credit for, because no one in the world will ever do what they need to do. I teach people, remove the word need from your vocab. Everyone needs to go to a gym, they don't. Everyone needs to drink water, they don't. Everyone needs to eat healthy, they don't. Everyone in the world will always find a way to do what they want.
Okay. I love the point that you say price is irrelevant.
Yeah.
So basically, people that are selling a product or service, you think it's a mental barrier a lot of times that they think the price of their product or service is too high, or they probably don't value themselves in a way?
They're not valuing...
Or would you say there's certain things that you can do in order to make the client think that price is totally irrelevant?
It's irrelevant. There are people going to college these days who are spending fortunes on something that doesn't... They believe in a story that is going to get them ahead.
It's a story.
It's a story they've told themselves. I can tell you, when I started my business, I started at $3,000. I'm no longer $3,000, but I keep asking the same questions I ask of you, or the same questions I ask of someone I bring on today. When I say price irrelevant, you could think of a bottle of water you buy in a gas station close here. It might be $1. In the airport, half a mile away, it's $5. You're basically, what I'm preaching to people is, go and find where you're valued. Valued's an important word. But stop telling someone value. Rather than tell someone value, you've got to extract value. If someone says to me, if I'm a mortgage person, and someone says to me, right from the get-go, hey, what rates can you get me? All right. First question is going to be, look, I will absolutely share the rates. Before I just do real quick, do you care just about the rates? Or do you also care about the caliber of the person that you're forming a relationship with, who's going to get you the mortgage?
Multiple choice question as well.
It's a rebuttal. What are your rates?
Right.
If I just say to them, here's what an amateur would do.
Okay.
My rates are 6%. I'm I'm so-and-so, and I've been doing this for 15, 20 years, and I'm going to deliver with confidence. My rates are this. Here's what the other human being's going to do. I need to think about that. Or they're going to say, oh, that sounds high. And then the amateur's going to double down in a bad way and say, why do you think that's high? Or start telling them, oh, you can go like they're not the same, and this is why they're not the same. Again, telling.
Okay. What should you do instead?
So I go, what's the rates? Hey, I'll absolutely share that with you just very quickly. Do you care just about the rates, or do you actually also care about the caliber of the person? Now, let me elaborate. If the person says I care just about rates,
Okay.
be like, I'm probably not going to be a good fit.
Can we do the same example with because I know there's a raw realtor listening to this podcast. Can you do with a similar example with realtors so they can get absolutely best value out of this?
Yeah. What commission do you charge?
What commission do you charge for listing my property?
Yeah. What commission do you charge?
Yes.
Okay. I will absolutely share the commission, 100%.
Okay.
Before I just share the commission, do you care just about the commission, or do you also care about the caliber of the realtor that you're going with? The right person will say, of course I care about the caliber. Great. Are you like me and understanding not all realtors are created equally, by the way?
Yes. Okay.
Just humor me for a second. If there was one thing that you valued more than anything in the world, just one, when it comes to having look at my body language, a realtor list your home, what would that one thing be? And then they're going to tell me, oh, this. Okay, oh, you're going to love me. Why is that the one thing that comes to your mind? Oh, because I've experienced information. Yeah.
Gather information.
Okay, so let me ask you, how would it feel, all right, to know 100%, not 99, 100%, more than 100%, I can deliver on that? Would that give you in your head more confidence and more value in using my services? Great. Okay, since we both agree, not every realtor brings that to the table, and we're not all created equally, can you see where this commission is a sensible commission to have that kind of caliber realtor? And they're going to be more inclined to say yes. Do you see where I'm going? I will throw out.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But it's totally different conversation, right? Than saying my commission is 3%.
Some people go in with confidence. I've been doing this for all these years.
Right.
I haven't. In 5.5 years, Christian, I've never had someone say to me, I need to think about it.
Okay, let's put the worst case scenario, because I know probably people are thinking, okay, what if the client says no? Says, how much do you charge? And you say, oh, give me a second, I'll tell you all about it in a second.
Right, and then I've gone through the value.
You've gone through the value, and they say, no, I don't value that. Where do you go from there?
Well, they've told me what they value and why they value it. If you think about it, they've told me other realtors have done this, so I've got them sharing, and then I'm like, can you see where this is sensible? If they say no after all that, one or two things are going to happen. I'm either going to ask them, because I've been gathering information, have you ever bought something before that you paid a fortune for, and it ended up being like, would you, like, if I look around their house, I would look at something they've paid more money for that is, like, maybe it's Wusthof knives, because they could go and buy cheap knives, all right? Like, or I might look at a watch that a fella's wearing or something. I'm trying to gather where I know they've spent way more money and not necessarily got the value that they were expecting, and make it relatable.
Awesome.
But and I'm being sincere with this, and this is not meant to come across. I think, Chris, and you understand, I'm not the guy where I'm saying, go drive a Lamborghini, and I am about, basically, you can be a complete nobody. Your audience, who's this guy? I set certain goals for myself. In all the years I've been doing this, whether I was $3 grand, $6 grand, 12 grand, 36 grand, back to 12 grand for 50 people that I'm helping this year in a group training. Not one time has anyone ever said, it's not sensible. Here's what they've said to me. They go, I can see where it's sensible. I don't know if I can afford it. And then I'll use the word feasible consciously. Now, I don't say what some people, an amateur would say, oh, so you want it, you just don't want to be left broke. That's a negative connotation. I'll be like, so you're telling me you want this, you just want to make sure it's financially feasible. The second they say yes to that, you're going to love me. In the mortgage game, realtor game, you've got the most financially feasible thing on the planet. Why? Because you can give the person 30 years to pay off something. Do you understand? Like, I've collected lingo. You want it, you just make sure it's financially feasible. Yeah. Okay, if I can show you how it's financially feasible, less than the car, would you do it? Yes. He went and raised credit. Now, you have to be ethical and live up to, have you made more return on your investment into me financially as a result of the things that I've taught you? And this is putting you on the spot in your own podcast for people.
Right.
Have you made more than what you invested into me? I'm not happy to share it, but like, have you made more as a result of the different strategies that I've taught you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as someone that believes in investing, because the channel is also investing, right? Not only in bigger assets, but probably the most important one, in my opinion, Jamie, as you would understand, because I've invested in you, is investing in oneself. Okay. And I absolutely agree with you that obviously it's pennies with all the value that me, myself, but also all the students have received.
Well, let's even go one layer deeper, because you've got me as a guest on your podcast, and it's for people who watch this to be like understanding not everyone's created equally. Not everyone has the same ethics or integrity.
Absolutely.
If you turn around to me at any point from now going forward and say, Jamie, I don't like you, what do you believe? What I may have shared with you, what would I 100% do immediately?
You mean the money back? That's what you...
I'll give you every single cent back. If you got into... Now, you've got a smiley face after your name in my phone.
Yes.
Right? If I didn't get back to you in 24 hours, what do you believe I would do?
You have gotten to me back in 24 hours all this time.
If I didn't get back to you in 24 hours, what do you think I would do?
Based on now that I know you a little bit,
yeah,
then you would probably return the money back as well.
I'd give you every cent, plus I would work out, and have you work it out because you're more numbers than me. I'm saying with ethics, integrity, I know what I deliver to someone.
Right.
So when they go into good debt to invest in me, I'm non-transactional, Christian. I'm wearing this. I'll take my clients away on a soccer vacation. It's non-transactional. We become friends. You didn't just share that. Like, everyone in the world, realtors and what have you, they can become friends with their people. I didn't make these numbers up. NAR, which is not very popular at the moment, but there's books that have said 92% of clients say they love the realtor that they worked with. All right, when they first, 92% say love them.
Yeah.
2 years later, only 13% remember the name of the realtor that they use. You're not going to forget my name, Christian, just the way I'm not going to forget yours. Why? Because we're in constant connection with each other, where we become like friends. But if you're needing guidance from me, I'll provide it for you. Realtors who are out there, or mortgage people or entrepreneurs, if someone says they can't afford you, it's your mission to make it financially feasible and then be able to deliver on the services so they feel like that was the best investment I could have ever made.
One thing that you've taught me, Jamie, and I think this is very important for the audience to understand, is that you have to find people that value what you bring to the table. And
but you've got to ask them, extract. I call it extract value. Too many people in the real estate arena have a broker tell them, this is what we bring. That's amateur.
Right. You guide them through questions.
Right. Ask them, what do you value?
Right. And one of those things is that really resonated with me, and with a lot of individuals in my circle, which I've also taught this, is that you also say, and I wrote it down, that you can get to any financial goal you have by working with a handful of the smallest of the people.
Right.
And sometimes us entrepreneurs or people in sales, they take a no, and they think they're the ones that are the problems. That may be, right? They probably need to invest a little bit more, but it's really finding the right people that are going to value your service for the right price, because price is irrelevant. So that's one of the things that you've taught me, in the sense that, and it's, like I said, resonated in the sense that, not everyone's going to buy. Why? Because they don't value. And we have to find the people that actually value your work, because not everyone's going to do it.
If someone cares about going to Rocket Fuzz to get a mortgage, all right, rather than you, Christian, that says more about them. And I think that I've never had a day where I'm doing 100 calls and the next day 100 calls, all right? I think the world gets told, play it's a numbers game, all right? You will, and I guarantee you, you do a numbers game, you call someone up 100, like you call up 100 different calls every day for all your life, you'll make money, but you'll be miserable doing it. All right? I'm talking about going and finding your kind of people in ways that you enjoy doing.
This is amazing.
Go and play pickleball. If you like pickleball, it's become a new trend. Here's what I know. If I play pickleball once a week, every week, in between a game, there's going to be an opportunity where there's someone next to me and I'm going to go, hey, just out of curiosity, mate, what do you do for a living when you're not playing pickleball? And they're going to be like, oh, I do X, Y, Z. And then the class act, I'm not going to go fish. If they don't ask me what I do, I'm not going to continue the conversation. But if they turn around to me and go, oh, Jamie, what do you do? I'll be like, oh, that's an interesting question. And they'll smile. I'll be like, for some reason, my clients have said that I'm electric on stages and I speak around how to communicate. All right. Do you think communicating is important? And they're going to be like, I need just one person and I'm enjoying myself playing pickleball.
And that's one of the biggest things that probably, and I think the audience can agree with me in this, that 45 minutes to an hour is not enough to extract all the value that you have. But networking is one of the things that you teach a lot of people. And just answering that question, what do you do? A lot of people answer it as, I do mortgages, I do sales, I do solar, I do sales engineering. And it's very amateur, it's very plain, that we can go. Hopefully we can bring you to a podcast in the future and we can also extract value through there. I want to tell you a little bit more just about referrals. How do you leverage referrals in 2 minutes?
Well, first off, I've got to a place in life, and I've always been pretty much like this. This year in particular, I'm more focused on attraction of business rather than chasing business. Too many people in any industry, I think they're chasing referrals where they're trying to force a conversation to happen and they're not leveraging the right moments to ask for a referral.
Okay.
All right. And here's where they miss it. When someone says to you, oh my God, thank you so much. This was amazing. And here's what an amateur does in real estate industry. All right. Look at my clients. Look how happy they are. All right. There's sometimes not even a question in there. I'm here for all your services. It's not even a question. What I would be doing is a few things. If I've got someone really excited, I've got them to close, they're all excited. I'll be like, this is phenomenal. I tell you what, how about we capture this moment? All right. And then I'm going to get my phone out and be like, hey, like, you know what? It's amazing when this happens. Hey, Bob, Sandra, all right, if you could share with the world how you feel around now and a little bit about me, how you feel right now, what would you say to what? Oh my God, now their words, all right? It's not, look how happy this couple is, it's their own words. Now you get an edification from third party. So other people are like, when you put in the post, would you like to feel the same way as Bob and Sandra? And you've tagged them, so their friends are gonna all see it. And then is it at least worth a phone call? Question mark.
Wow.
You say wow.
At least is that word very operative? Yeah. It's very important.
At least it's critical.
Critical.
Yeah.
Why is at least critical?
Because if I ask you, we've got 15 minutes, 54 seconds. If I said, hey, Christian, do you have time later? Or Joseph, do you have time later to meet up? You're both going to say no. You're like, dude, I've got to go take care of the dog. Danny wants to do this. If you ask me, Jamie, do you have time later? I'm like, oh man, I've got to do a call. I'm going to go and take my girlfriend Stephanie out in St. Norman's Circle for a meal. No one in the world has time when you ask them, do you have time? Hey, Christian, there's something I can't talk about. We're not going to get there in the 15 minutes. We're definitely not going to get there. But let's say there was something I learned that you don't know, all right? And it will change the goalpost for you dramatically. Would it at least be worth 20 minutes to get on a call later on today? You're going to turn it into a yes. Because I use the words at least. Because at least diminishes the value of money and time. You consciously use the words. A lot of people love that play. In fact, I'm not a gambler, but I bet if someone watches this podcast to this moment and learns this lesson, they're going to be like, that's amazing. And the reason I know that is because on my TikTok, that's the most saved video of any lesson that I've given out there. That one is like amazing. Like, I'm going to save it.
I know you took the leap, what, about 5 years ago with your business. You were in a corporate world. And I know probably a lot of people watching this are probably stuck in that, in that employer, which they probably not appreciate. They feel stuck. They feel frustrated. What do you tell those people that are listening to us today? What can they do to take the leap if they wish, if that's their goal, if that's their purpose, to take the leap to opening their business, to doing something different that they actually wish their life had?
Very rare that I ever turn around to someone and say, that's a great question. That, like, it when I say it's tough for me, I could bring up somebody close to me where I'm trying to help them take the leap, and it's not easy. And I think we've established, and what I'm about to share, it doesn't come out easily because not everyone in the world is designed to be an entrepreneur, and the system is against you, all right? And you've been programmed. The whole world programs everyone to, and I prove it with fill in the blanks, and just I can prove it to you. So it's twofold in the lesson. If you answer the same questions in the same way that Christian does, and that person is working in corporate America, yet they want to take the leap, just understand the premise of, I understand it's not easy. So if I say, Christian, I was told go to school, and I was raised in England, you were raised in the US, but anyone in the US will answer the same way. It doesn't matter where you're from. I was told go to school, and I got told that you should go to college. But to get in the best college possible, when I was in regular school, I got told that I have to get really good
grades.
Right. Doesn't matter. Honduras, England, US, grades. Right. And anyone answering, they're going to be like, grades. Right. Then when I got to college, I got told that I still have to get even more good
grades.
Right. And then when I left college, mum and dad weren't so nice. They became mean. They didn't want me living at home. I didn't want to live at home. All right. So I had to start learning how to make some
money.
And the only way I knew to make money was go out and get a job. Then I'll be cheeky and ask a room, what does JOB stand for? And someone in that audience will say, just over broke. I'm like, right. And then we're expected to save our money and live out this glorious
life.
It doesn't matter where I'm at in the world. Everyone answers those questions the same way. So there is someone who's sat right now in corporate America who's like wanting more. The first lesson, they've got to anti-program themselves from what they've been programmed. I'm a bit unorthodox. They will get told, you need to have business cards. You need to have a business plan. When you came on board, I didn't even have a website, Christian. Like, I'm the guy that tells people, you do not have to have X before you have Y. There are 3 things, all right, I would encourage them to do. Ask themselves, do they believe in themselves? All right? Do I believe in myself? Believe is most powerful word on the planet. Do I believe in myself? The second question they ask, can I get someone else to believe that I can help them? And then the third question is, can I get someone to place a high value on what I bring them? If they can answer those 3 questions of themselves, that with no website, nothing, they can indeed make money and put money in their pocket.
Wow.
And those 3 questions I'm a testament to. I said, do I believe in myself? Can I get someone else to believe I can help them communicate better? Can I get someone to place a high value on what I'm bringing them? And those 3 things, my friend, is what gives you a business. And it's pretty simple. Life is not easy. It doesn't go like this. It can be more simple than what most people make it out to be.
Where did you get that entrepreneurial mentality from?
We all have miscellaneous ingredients. I was blessed to have a dad that was an entrepreneur. I will share that with the world. However, my dad, God rest his soul, he taught me certain expressions. And one of them was Jameson, because he called me Jameson, right? His name. He goes, there's no substitute for experience. Right? And he said, it's always better to learn from somebody else's. My dad, what I learned from him, which I don't know if I've ever shared, is he would get in and out of different businesses. And I wouldn't say he had the most glorious retirement that he would have wanted to have. Because he went into different businesses, I'm very focused on one business. And like 5 years, a little over 5 years, I don't recognize the Jamie I am today. They talk about, most entrepreneur stories you hear, Christian, they're all the same, just maybe a little bit different flavor. All right, same principle. I'm enjoying the person I'm becoming. In 10 years' time, I won't recognize the Jamie that sat on your podcast today, all right, because I'm becoming something. I set a different goal each year, same business. Too many people, here's what my best advice I can give someone. I call it don't stop, start. Some people, and I have old colleagues of mine who started businesses. How are we doing? All right. They started businesses same time as me. When the pandemic hit, here's what they did. They quit. They stopped. And then after the pandemic and a couple of years, they come to me for advice. And I tell them, I'm like, is it okay if I share with you constructively? What? Because you're like, how are you doing it? Why are you where you're at? I'll say, are you open to constructive feedback? Question. Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. There's only one difference between you and me. And they're like, what's that? I'm like, you stopped. So here's what happens. People have a great idea, Christian. They start it. It doesn't get the results that they want as quickly as they want it. They stop it. The idea doesn't go away. And then 2 years later, they're like, I'm going to start this up again. And then they stop it. It's the same analogy with working out, right? I just keep going. If you don't stop, if you start something and you never stop it, I can make a promise. After compounding efforts, you're not going to recognize where you get to.
That's amazing.
It's not, and again, and it's, I'll add a caveat so people like this. Do activities every day that you genuinely enjoy in order to get business. I'll repeat that. Do activities you genuinely enjoy to get business. If someone from this audience listens to this podcast and they're like, I really want Jamie's number, I really want Jamie's help, I can share with them that if business comes from this, I've enjoyed myself. I've enjoyed being around you. I've enjoyed being around Joseph, even on a vacation. I enjoy it. It's not work. Because if you enjoy what you're doing, I enjoy going for dinners. I enjoy taking friends off to Milan, Italy. I do things that I enjoy that I know can generate business. Most people are doing this all day long with cold leads. Right? We didn't talk about this concept a lot, but there's what's called the golden geese mentality. I've taught you this before. If I'm a realtor, as an analogy, go and find 2 divorce attorneys. Just 2, not the world. Everyone, when they get divorced, what do they need to do? They need to sell a house. All right? If you get an amicable divorce, you can get 3 deals. Now, they may have heard this before, but I'm telling them, take 10 grand if that was going to be your budget to buy direct mail. Take that 10 grand, take 2 divorce attorneys out multiple times throughout the year. Enjoy the dinner yourself. Enjoy the wine yourself if you drink. At the end of the year, I promise you, they will feel some form of healthy obligation to send you clients when they're getting divorced. You'll make way more than the 10 grand. And in the famous wise words of my dad, which I am fond to always share, no one ever went skint making a profit.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
To close it, I do want to be.
Yeah, we're doing good.
We promised the audience that we were gonna also show them maybe some techniques as to how they can have a better relationship with their loved ones. I know you mentioned a little bit about how you talk to your kids, and actually there's a demand for people to know this. I know this for a fact because I was looking at some research, Jamie. And
doesn't surprise me.
And it says how to communicate better in a relationship. It's the top 5. It's in the top 5 of research and YouTube, or how to communicate effectively with people, or how to compliment the guy. I'm guessing the girls are asking that. That's number 6. So how would you say people can communicate better with their significant other, with someone they love?
Look, It's interesting. You know, there's a quote that says, "No good sailor was created in calm weather." All right, meaning the good sailor has ridden some waves. All right, storms. I'm not going to be on your podcast and give marriage advice, because if someone looks me up, they'll be like, "The guy's divorced, like been divorced. I've been married, divorced. You've met my ex-wife briefly in the car. We're very amicable, like extremely amicable. I don't think that happens by accident. I think it's as a result of conscious communication. I think for men, if I was going to give men advice, get more in touch with your feminine side. One is my advice. And it comes down to become more emotionally intelligent. I think that emotional intelligence is way more sexy and way more important, all right, in any world than book smart intelligence.
Okay.
We reward in college and different schoolings if you've got letters before your name. But the real emotional intelligence is being able to read someone in front of you. If you're not feeling good, like to be able to have an emotional intelligence, and that leads to the next point. Emotional intelligence in its simplest form is basically get the other person talking. My girlfriend will tell me more that she loves me when she gets a chance to vent. And I don't provide men a logical, what we want to do is we want to provide a solution. Don't.
That's not going to work, because they don't want to solve it.
They don't want.
They don't want to solve it.
No, but so as men, again, I'm not giving new advice that's never been given before.
Right.
But if a man, for instance, to a woman can say before venting, "Hey, do you want me to listen just to listen, or do you want me to listen and provide some form of advice?"
Okay.
Again,
Question.
multiple choice.
Question. Okay.
Yeah. If they say, "I just want you to listen," one, if you ask that question first, they're going to think you're the most amazing man on the planet. Why? Because 99% of men are not doing that. Now, the extra caveat, please be a guy who does it genuinely because you want to, not, I don't get fulfilled getting in someone's knickers. That's not my wheelhouse. When you want to form an actual relationship that's long-standing, that's, you know, meaningful, the more you listen to them, the better off you'll be. And coming from a place to seek to understand, empathy, like then we all have rough days, men and women. If women can come from a place, let me seek to understand. This doesn't seem like Christian today. Let me come from a place of seeking to understand, because I've learned more and more, usually when we're angry, it's never at the other person. It's more of a projection of something.
Correct.
If Rachel has a problem with me, all right, usually, here's what I'll do consciously. If any of you listen and you're a male and you've been divorced and you're a good dad, all right, and your ex-wife is going off on you about something, this is really raw, obviously, and advice. I would say just ask them, "Hey, is everything okay?" Simple. And I promise you, if you are, rather than getting defensive, "What do you mean I'm this? You're this?" That's an argument. If you just ask, "Hey, is everything okay?" 99 out of 100 times they're going to say, "Yeah, I shouldn't have said what I just said. I'm just really stressed out because of da 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 da." Do you see where I'm going? Like, I'm glad to hear you say wow, but most of the time, if you've not done anything wrong, all right, and you know you haven't, getting defensive is not going to help you. Correct. Consciously communicating, "Hey, is everything okay?" I wonder how many women watch this and be like, husband or like, you have to watch it.
You have to watch it. They're probably going to share that. They're probably going to share that for sure. So conscious communicating, listening, empathy. Am I missing something there?
Seeking to understand, which is probably the empathy part. Like try and think about, where is this person coming from before you go and attack.
Awesome. And I know we can talk about this probably,
of course, like
another hour and a half.
I don't think we're going to solve. I'm not going to solve all 6 things that you found out within whatever seconds.
Within, yeah. But I do want to wrap it up just to put all this into probably a practical example. I know you're going to love this, because obviously Jamie today has teaching us a little bit about what he delivers as value and getting the outcome that you want. And we started the podcast that way, right? Get into your mind before going into an interaction, what's the outcome you want, so you can get the result that you actually want. So I don't know if you want to do with your permission,
Yeah.
The trick with the...
It's not a trick. What, am I doing this with Joseph?
Yeah, we're going to have to do it with Joseph. And the audience is going to be seeing Joseph. You're going to be meeting him, first of all. So we're going to do a little bit just to prove the point of what he delivers, right? What he teaches of getting the outcome. You're going to be one of our participants today. He didn't know this. So hopefully he's at least looking... You're looking handsome. That's not a problem. So
it's a bit of fun here, Joseph. I promise it'll be fun.
It is a little bit of fun. So if you want, you can come here, and then he's gonna just ask you a few questions, and we're gonna have fun a little bit here, and hopefully the audience.
Hey, Joseph,
I know for sure.
If it ain't consolation, Joseph, I didn't know I was going to be doing this here on the podcast, so this is definitely
first time.
Yeah, well, not my first time, but I didn't know I was going to be doing it today.
He didn't know he was going to do it. We're full of surprises here, and I
we
know
go.
the audience is going to love this. So if you have stayed till here, all the value that he has provided, you're also going to learn a magic trick at the moment. Go. All right.
Actually, let's preface by saying, and factually, it's not a magic trick. All right, it's all right, and I'll explain.
You can explain
afterwards.
it. You can explain it better. That's for sure.
Okay.
So the camera is open. Yeah. You can go ahead.
Okay.
We're gonna sit right here.
All right. Okay. Now,
there's no script here, by the way, as you see.
Okay.
just keeping with the notion, Joseph, you understand English very quick because I know everyone in the audience is simply all right. I'm gonna go very, very quick here, extremely fast. You've got to answer, just say into the mic so everyone can hear you.
Okay.
You can't breathe. You can't hesitate. You can't let your eyes go in your head and think of something. Right? You just got to answer me very fast, and you can't jump ahead. So I'm going to take you through something where you're going to answer really quick without jumping ahead. Now, for this example, it's not a trick, but we will say, let's say a pack of playing cards. All right? You played cards before, right? Okay. So going real fast without jumping ahead, let's imagine for a moment we open up a brand new deck. And you and me, Joseph, we're going to play a game. So when you play a game, you immediately take out the jokers, right? Okay. Going real fast without jumping ahead, just say your answers very quickly. Once we take out those jokers, you've got two colors. You've got black, you've got red. Pick one.
Black.
Even the red left over you got even quicker. The red left you got over, you've got hearts, you've got diamonds. Pick one.
Diamonds.
Okay, even quicker. Of the diamonds, you got numbers, you got face.
Face.
Of the face, you got the jack, the queen, the king.
King.
Okay. Now, before we started, Joseph, you didn't know. I didn't know I was going to be doing this. You didn't know. What card is that?
It's a king, red, and diamonds.
Okay.
You can show to the...
Oh, okay. So king, diamonds, not making that up. All right. Now, when I say that's not a trick, that's the only card I carry in my wallet. So Christian's like before, have you brought your wallet? Why? Because he knows I carry the king of diamonds. What the king of diamonds represents for me in conversation and when I teach is basically the 4 words, I agree with you. If I want someone to do something, I'm just thinking before I go in conversation, how do I get to a place where I can say, I agree with you?
Yeah.
All right. So let's say, I want to sell you on I've been a great guest. I'm not going to say I want to be. I'll be like, hey, Joseph, you've been doing this a little while, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen different caliber guests?
Yes.
Okay. Was there anything that I shared on this podcast that made me seem better than certain guests?
Yes.
Okay. What was that one thing?
The thing on the intelligent behavior. Like
Emotional intelligence.
It's yeah.
Okay, why? This is perfect. Actually, why would you say the emotional intelligence piece?
It's because a lot of people doesn't think about it, and it just go with just being the counter in situations. They make arguments. Mm-hmm. They don't stop and think about it. And go with the good decision of communicate.
Right. Now, I could end the conversation here and go, I agree with you, technically. But if I want to be very deeper, I'll be like, hey, did you internalize that for your marriage at all? Like with your wife? Like
Kind of.
Kind of?
Yeah.
Tell me now. I can say, can you elaborate on that for me? Now I'm getting you to a more emotionally evoking more emotion in you. Yeah. So when I say, well, you learned something from me, what kind of value do you place on having a really great relationship with your wife? Is that a low value or a really high value?
Is from this conversation is high value for sure.
Okay. I haven't asked you to become a client, but hopefully the audience can see how it's very simple to transition in a conversation where I make it about you. I'm not telling you, hey, Joseph, this is what you should do. This is why you should do it. All right. I'm asking you, what kind of value do you place on emotional intelligence with your wife? Where I'm going fishing for it, where it's great when you already know what the answers are going to be. Mm-hmm. Here's the good news. If you don't show me any value, I'm just like, yeah, it's okay. We're not a fit. But in the instance where you're going along with it, I'm just like, okay, I know where this is going. And I can just say, I agree with you. All right. So hopefully that was a great,
wow.
That was hey.
People are most likely
Thank you.
Thanks. That's amazing.
That ends up being fun and I think informative.
As you guys see, everyone here is certainly learning about Jamie. That was amazing, Jamie. Once again, I'm learning so much today. And if you're someone that has at least learned a bit of Jamie today and that you're going to put this into practice, make sure you like it, you share it with someone that maybe is having a little bit of trouble, frustration in the communication. And now, Jamie, I'm going to end it up with a little bit of rapid questions.
Okay.
I'm going to end with that. You can't think about it too much, just like what you did with Joseph.
I love that.
And it's quick questions. It's going to be about 10 questions. You're going to think about it first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Is that fair?
It's fair.
Awesome. 3 words to never use in sales.
Need, never, and technically I'm going to be cheeky, I want.
What do you tell people that are aggressive in sales?
What do I tell people that are aggressive? Make sure you've garnered understanding. If that's your personality and that's what you want to be, I'm not here to change anyone, but you have to preface and garner the right understanding first. If you're just aggressive for aggressive sake, you're going to be roughing, like it's going to be a rough situation. A lot of my clients genuinely have said, Jamie, thank you, I can be direct because you give me the finesse to be direct by being able to ask permission to be themselves first.
What do you tell people that say that your techniques are manipulation techniques?
Great, that I have faced that. Like even when I do the King of Diamonds play, it seems like you can't. As long as you're doing everything genuinely with ethics, integrity, good morals, and great intention for the other person, and you know you can help them, I don't think anyone should apologize for how they make a living if they're getting the other person to tell them what they value. I actually would find it more manipulating if I told you to do something that you don't want to do. If you're asking someone what's in it for them to do what it is and you know you can deliver on it, I would say there's no manipulation. And secondly, if you ever called me up, first off, as a potential client, said, Jamie, teach me how to manipulate, it's going to be a very quick ending to that conversation.
Awesome. Quick answers. Best travel experience?
You're being cheeky here. All right. Egypt.
Why?
I was blown away by it. I've got on my wall at home the Day of Judgment, on the wall.
Yeah.
And Egypt was just fascinating. They've only discovered. I'm not going to answer the question quick enough for this rapid fire, but I'll tell anyone I'm pretty well traveled. You'll want to go to Egypt.
What's the first thing that you do when you wake up?
First thing I do when I wake up? Coffee.
Childhood idol?
Glenn Hoddle.
What do you like reading?
If I'm reading fiction, I like Jeffrey Archer, and I've read a couple of the books whilst I've been away. If I'm reading like non-fiction, I love my favorite book, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle is my favorite personal development book that I've ever read.
You recommend it, of course.
100 million %.
100%.
Yeah.
What's the name of it again?
A New Earth.
What's something you cannot tolerate?
something I can't tolerate. When I say lying, it seems like that's what's coming to my head as a rapid fire answer. Just be transparent. I don't like greed. You know, I think we can all win, if that makes sense.
That's nice. One goal of yours that you must accomplish in your lifetime.
When I say it keeps changing, like and evolving, I learn more every year. I think I finally got myself to a place whereby I do want to leave more of a legacy for the masses. So that's why being on this podcast and getting in front of an audience that I wouldn't necessarily get in front of does help on that front.
What's the legacy you want to leave?
Well, my legacy is my mission statement, which is not written down anywhere, Kristen, is to leave everyone feeling better off in their knowledge on how to communicate as a result of me sharing it. So if someone listens to this moment and they're like, they've learned a lot, I love it when people say, Jamie, I took 5 pages of notes, you know, on a half an hour call or whatever it might be. That's my legacy.
What does your daughter Ruby mean to you?
Oh, you want a rapid fire? I'll say my daughter and my son, all right? I love them both dearly. I call my daughter my unicorn princess. She's one of the things I love. I think we all get poured miscellaneous ingredients from our parents into us. One of the things I love with Ruby, she seems to have really embraced this. She's got immense discipline. If you said, Jamie, what do you credit your success? It's more about the discipline and just being like when you want something, being disciplined enough to achieve it and enjoy the journey. You know I'm going to be in the gym. You know I was at a crunch gym this morning. You know where I'm going to be next Monday when I'm in Orlando. You know when I'm going to LA, I'm going to find a gym. That's discipline. When it came to soccer, I wanted to live in America and play soccer in America, so I played every day growing up. I want to run my own business for 20 years or over. I just studied people and every interaction I had so that I can teach someone else. This is a predictable pattern that you're going to see when you get the right people, or what you should avoid saying that definitely won't get you where you want to get ahead. So she has that discipline. My son, God bless him, love him. I think girls and boys are not as mature as each other at the younger age. But in terms of legacy, I would love to see Harrison find the discipline, is what I would say. But I'm very proud of both my kids. They've never given us any trouble. No drugs, no gambling, no late nights or anything. That I've never got a call at 4 a.m. in the morning from Rachel saying Harrison's doing something naughty. Sometimes I wish that I would get that call, from the standpoint of they're human.
Great kid.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
They're both great kids.
Congratulations for that. And the mother. Last 2. What would you want to be remembered for? If there was one word.
Tough. Look, I've been to certain funerals and I've heard the kids talking about the dad, and I'm just like, oh God, I hope that my kids talk about me in that light. Honestly, if I can leave this world a better place with communication for the people that can help, given AI and given these devices, Christian, it would be great to be remembered for, leaving the world a better place for those people where they do value human connection. And I do look at, in every darkness, there's an opportunity. All right, there is. And I think with regards to the whole, I'll never do AI. And even though I said to you a minute ago, take the word never out, I won't do AI. I won't. Why? Because I like authenticity way too much. I'm not saying AI is bad or it's got different things. It's just not for me personally to integrate into my life when it comes to certain conversations. Mm-hmm. But it almost does me a favor, because the more the world relies on AI and devices, the more need that there's going to be, I think, for a human connection. And that's where over the years I'd like to make a name for myself within that realm.
I agree with you. Final advice to our audience that's trying to get better in conscious communication?
Oh, in conscious communication specifically, well, one is I can be cheeky. Like, did you learn anything from me here today? So if you as an audience member are saying yes, that question genuinely, right, and you want to be more conscious and you do believe that I'm someone who can help you, reach out to Christian, who can then give you my information to reach out to me. That's one way. Second way is go study, go read books for yourself. None of us, me inclusive, invented anything. All right, we didn't invent anything. We just teach with our own flavor, is my way of putting it. So you can go and read the greatest book is Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Greatest book ever written. It doesn't teach the questions. You can go and read a book by Chris Voss, who teaches a lot of stuff, Never Split the Difference. Great book. I teach certain things with a different flavor. He might ask a question that gets a no response and you're okay with it. I will make it more multiple choice in my, differences. You can go and study things. I'm more a proponent of hands-on, holding someone's hand and a smaller group of people to hold their hands as clients, since you're asking when it comes to how someone can get more conscious. For that person who values that, reach out to me. Other than that, go keep studying, and be disciplined.
Jamie, thank you for giving us the biggest asset there is, biggest investment, your time.
Oh, no.
Thanks, man.
Love it.
I appreciate you.